Welcome to the Sanctum Podcast, your community PvP-focused podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Sanctum Podcast. We are your source for all things PvP in the Blizzard universe. Thanks for joining us. It's Monday, February 27th, 2017. We have one day left in the month of February. I'm your host, RyCP, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Coffin Skate and Jane. How are you guys doing this week?
Good. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just saying, I'm doing pretty good.
It's pretty good. You wearing that shirt you were talking about earlier today? Looking all pretty?
It's not pink though, but it's pretty comfortable.
Nice.
It's worse. It's just a really oversized hoodie right now. It's fantastic.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm doing good as well. Doing pretty good this week. So I had a question to ask you guys to start off the show like we normally do. What is one new thing that you learned about PvP this week?
I didn't know there was going to be a pop quiz.
Yeah. You've played Overwatch.
I didn't.
But Aaron, what is one thing that you've learned about PvP this week?
Well, I didn't study, so I'm making this up as I go. Arcade mages are fantastic. I'm telling you now. If you're playing like mid to, I'd say like low to mid RBGs, they are fantastic. My mage is not geared at all. I have no artifact talents, and I was like top damage, like nuking people. I had a 2 million arcane barrage yesterday, and I couldn't even play after that. I was just laughing too.
True story. RBGs with Garrus are happening.
How about you, Jay?
I don't know that I've learned anything new this week. I'm trying to think. Your experience with arcane mages though makes me laugh because I used to have one that was my main all those years ago.
They are so sexy.
Yeah, they're super fun. I don't know, what did I learn new this week? I haven't been playing as much Overwatch, truthfully. I've been super busy with work. I played a little bit the other day, and I guess this is not even new though. I'm learning that like a good Symmetra is a huge pain in the neck. She's just super annoying in every way. No offense. I play her too, but she's not fun.
Yeah,
Would you say she's the new Torb?
I don't know.
Torb on
as far as annoying goes.
But are we talking Torb on console or Torb on PC?
Console is awesome.
I don't know. I feel like that'll be Bastion once he comes out of the PTR. That's just my own humble opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. I learned this week that when you have a Gnomish Alliance mage on a server that is heavily Horde, and your Alliance, and you run around with Aaron, and you put on the title, you're named the Horde Breaker, you find yourself in a lot of PvP scuffles as a level 100.
Probably not the best idea.
Yeah, so that was last night before we did RBGs. We played a little bit, and we got jumped. One boomkin kept coming after me specifically, and Aaron was like 102 or 103 or something like that, and he can destroy him because the guy was a level 100. And then apparently he had a warrior and a paladin friend, and all three of them died to us like 7 or 8 times.
Ow.
And they just kept...
They started.
Yeah, they started it and we finished it repeatedly.
I ended.
Oh,
that was so much fun though. And then they got the druid too. The druid was like, "I want to play." Fell apart.
Yeah, he didn't play for long, and then we had 110s camping us. After a while, I guess they were crying in general, but whatever. You know, it is what it is. I had a mage camping me, and I had to log off to do RBGs so he could have fun sitting there watching my corpse at the graveyard for about 20 minutes or so while I wasn't even on the character. Good stuff. So, I guess let's get the show started. Let's talk a little bit about some Warcraft here.
Champions, I'm counting on you.
All right. So with a new patch 7.2 PTR, build 23. What is that? 23,623. It's a big number. Comes updates to artifact traits, PvP talents, and talent calculator. You can find the links to the new trees and talents on mmochampion.com.
Absolutely. And Blizzard has decided to keep the availability of the 4th golden talent that some may have already put 20 points into. They're also adding a 4 extra talents as enhancers, like the normal ones that you have, the non-golden. And then actually they're adding a final 50-point talent. This was released. We talked about this, Jane and I did last Friday, when we did the news. So it's going to be taking the total talent points spent into the weapon as 111. Currently the max is 54. So that's how many more levels that you're going to be able to do. Now, you're going to be completely accruing just over 405 million artifact power points. So, that's daunting.
God.
That is daunting. When it's all said and done, that's about what you'll be sitting at. And then hopefully, I think that's the end of it. I'm not sure. So.
Let's see. So at level 57, the points level out, requiring even 6 million of AP per level from 57 to 111. That's a lot of points, 6 million. I don't even think I can count that high.
It's high.
But anyway, yeah, so basically be sure to head over to MMO Champion and check out the new artifact traits that you'll be receiving in 7.2.
Absolutely. So if you're a person like me who's been sitting on points, they did release some information with the PvP or just a regular Q&A that I do want to quickly mention. It's not in the show notes, but they said that if you're holding on to tokens and you're not actually using them to gain artifact power, those tokens that you've been holding in the bank or anything else, they're going bye-bye. So you will not have them to gain them.
Oh, no.
So you have to make sure when you get these that you use them to put them in the bank of what you're going to use. That was stated, so I just want everyone to kind of get a heads up on that. I myself have been using everything that I get and just sitting on points. I think I've got maybe 6 points saved up, roughly, after putting 1 point into the final golden talent. So I've got a 36 power weapon, 36 points in with about 6 points saved. And the purpose for me doing that was because I knew they were coming out with these 4 extra talent points. I didn't know they were coming out with a 5th golden talent, but this allows me to, when 7.2 drops and things go live and things like that, this is going to allow me to be able to put the points where I want to put them first, because in PvP, the golden talent, the 35th talent currently, is not active, and 7.2 it becomes active, but I think it's going to play a minuscule part. I don't know if it's going to be as powerful as some people think, but, who knows? If I'm able to grind out enough artifact power before I actually see 7.2, and I can put all 20 points in and I have an extra, 4 points or whatever to put into the new talents, I may do that. So it just is one of those things where I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. A lot of grinding, a lot of this and that, but the good news is they are allowing increased artifact power gain right now. They just bumped up the artifact power that you get from bosses, and it's, I think, guaranteed to drop now in Nighthold as well as others. And when you PvP, if you win or lose, you still get artifact power as a reward. So it's nice. You're always having it, and you don't have to go and do all the world quests and things like that. So, all right. That's really it for World of Warcraft this week, necessarily. Anyone who follows or knows Aaron and I in-game, things like that, we do a Sunday night raided Battleground group with Garrisar. He's the leader of it. We just tag along and have fun. It's a fun group, necessarily. It's not anything that's too pushy, try hard, or anything like that. And we play every Sunday night. It is kind of late, though. Is it 11 o'clock, Aaron, what it ends up being?
Yeah, I think it's 11 o'clock
Eastern time. Yeah, so it's pretty late for people on the East Coast, but we finish around 1. And depending on how quickly we get the group together, we play about 4 games a week on Sundays, which isn't horrible. We went 2 wins, 2 losses last night, and both the times we won in Temple of Kot Mogu, which it blows my mind because that is a super hard map to usually win on. necessarily. So, if anyone's out there looking for some PvP or some RBGs, if you're entry level or, you just enjoy playing and having fun and don't want to be with people who rage, feel free to, toss Aaron on a list or contact Garrisar in-game. His Toon's name in-game, he's on Tichondrius Alliance side. And this is on Alliance side, by the way. And it's technical, Tecknical, I believe. And you can just look him up, or you can, look up Technically PvP, the podcast. They've got a way to contact him, through that as well. So there's that as well. And let's go into some Hearthstone here, because we have some news.
You have already lost.
Leroy Jenkins!
The might of Dalaran has arrived.
Do you hear its call?
All right, well, Team 5 has announced the next expansion. They're calling it Journey into Ungoro.
So Elise Starseeker takes her junior explorers to a land of primordial wonder infused with astonishing elemental energies.
So with Druids, they're getting a new keyword. It's called Adapt. It's coming to Hearthstone. You'll be given the choice of one of 3 different random powers to enhance and adapt your creature to the current board set.
And a brand new type of card has been released. It's called the Quest card. It works similarly to a secret, but your opponent will also be able to see what the quest and the reward will be for you as well. Now, if you can complete the quest, they unlock some of Hearthstone's most powerful cards ever created.
That sounds enticing. There'll be 135 new cards released with this set. Currently, we know of 4 cards that have been released, and the rest will be released officially on March 17th.
So those U cards, the 4, we got Volcano, which is a shaman spell. Let me just go down here. So Volcano, deal 15 damage, randomly spin along all minions. You have Awaken the Makers, which actually is kind of neat. It's the quest. It summons 7 Death Rattle minions. And I guess when you complete the quest, it turns into Amara, Warden of Hope, which has a taunt.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets your hero's health to 40. Oh my.
Right?
And the Mage Legendary, Pyros. Like a Pokemon kind of action we got here. So Pyros, the 2-drop. Death Rattle returned to your hand as a 6/6 that costs 6. And then it turns to 6-drop. And then when it dies, it's returned to your hand. And as a 10/10, it costs 10-drop. I mean, that's evolution right there. And then the final one is Verdant Longneck. I almost said Lockneck. It's a Druid class card. It's a new keyword. It's cut off for me, but apparently it turns into 3 different cards that you can pick from.
It gives you a choice of 3. So there's, from what they're showing, or from what they at least showed on the video, there's 6 cards that can spawn and give you a choice. So out of 6 cards, they'll show you 3, and then of those 3, you can choose 1. So they're kind of like bonus cards. Think of it kind of like Evolution a little bit. One of them creates Divine Shield, gives Divine Shield to your minion. And these are all 0 cost, by the way. It's free to use these. One of them gives 3 attack. One of them gives your minion Wind Fury that you're playing. One cannot be targeted by spells or hero powers. One is a Death Rattle summon of, I think it's 5 1/1 plants. And then the other is Taunt. So they have the Adapt is actually kind of cool. So I think they're kind of pushing towards a Beast Druid-ish deck, maybe? I'm not sure. But all of the cards that they're coming out with and all of these new little features, they're very, very interesting. And I do kind of like the way that they're going. And I also see why now some of these cards have moved from standard and now are being dismissed. Because some of those cards with these cards would be ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at these. I like where they're going with the game. It's becoming more active instead of passive. I mean, before you'd have the basic deck, and most people would have, 2 or 3 of the really good decks that they would build. Here, you can move your deck around. So, I mean, if someone's dominating you board control, you can just pull out like 5 1/1 minions. If you're doing pretty good, you can pull out the taunt minion. You know what I mean? Like, there's it's more of an active play style as opposed to just trying to hope for RNG.
Sure. And I do want to clarify, because Matt's talking to us in chat as well. Basically, what this does is this is kind of like a choice with other Druid cards where you can choose to tank or to, have charge and then have more attack at the time. What this does is this gives you a buff card that whatever minion you played then gains what buff you choose. So it's the example, the Verdant Longneck is a 5/4 beast with a 5 casting cost. You drop it, and then any of those 6 cards, whatever 3 that pop up that you get to choose, you choose one of those to enhance the 5/4 beast that you just played. So that's the new Adapt talent, and I think it's kind of cool. It's not too bad.
I'm liking it. So at least for more information, and if you want to watch the official release video, just head over to hearthhead.com and give the Journey to Ungoro blog a read.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's definitely worth a watch, and I think they had a lot of fun making the video for the release video. You definitely should watch it. And it gives a little more explanation kind of what is going on with the sets, because this is where they talk about these different cards and things like that. So, Jane, is this enough to kind of intrigue you to start playing Hearthstone necessarily?
I think I played Hearthstone once, but it was such a long time ago, back when I was still playing WoW also, and I had fun playing it. I liked the game. Like, the mechanics and everything seemed fun, and, they're making these changes that seem like they're headed in a really exciting direction. So, yeah, maybe I'll check it out. Yeah,
I might. Maybe. I don't know. I might start saving money. I'm not sure if I'll buy the pre-packs, because they give you the option when these come, you can pre-purchase for, I think it's like $50, $50 or $60. You get 10 more packs than you normally would, so you get like 60 packs of cards to open. So it gives you a greater chance of getting your legendaries and other cards that you might want to be getting. And for what cards you don't get, you can dust the duplicates or ones you don't want, and then just create the ones that you need or want. And I'm not sure that I'll pre-buy. I'm kind of done with Hearthstone with pre-buying necessarily. It's a lot of money to keep sinking in every so often, because these come out like every 4 months or so. And I mean, they're getting people's money because they enjoy it. I don't feel like I personally play it enough to be able to justify sinking $60 into this when I could put $60 somewhere else.
Yeah, Matt said he's going to pre-order.
Yeah. The card back is nice. It does come with a special card back if you pre-order, and it's super, super cool. It's very Ungoro-y, I guess you could say, if anyone remembers Ungoro from WoW. All right, well, that is what we have for Hearthstone news this week, so definitely go check that out on hearthhead.com and see if there's anything else. I'd like to mention, too, the logo that they've got for Journey to Ungoro looks super cool. It reminds me very much of like a Jurassic Park type logo.
It does.
Super neat.
Yeah, I get that vibe, too.
Okay, well, Matt's going to talk to us a little bit for his on-target segment here. So, let's find out what's going on in the world of Matt Myers.
Stay on target!
Matt here with On Target for this week. So this week, with the release of the Journey to Ungoro, you might think we'd be talking about that. However, there's something a little fishy on my mind. And that is the Murloc Finja, the Flying Star, the 5-mana 2/4 with stealth that pulls 2 other Murlocs out of your deck. In the last couple of weeks, I don't know if the meta's been bored or if it's actually really good, but it's been appearing a lot in a lot of lists, including Pirate Warrior, Menagerie Shaman, Druid, Tempo Mage, Stealth Rogue, and even in Dragon Priest, which is my personal favorite, because they throw in Herald Village to double up on the Murlocs and even more insane. The reason why this card is so good is because you are restricting your Murlocs to the quote-unquote Finja Force 5, or if you're playing in Wild, the Finja Force 6. The 5 cards are Finja the Flying Star, 2 Bluegills, 2 War Leaders. So if you attack and kill something with your Finja, he could pull out 2 of those cards. what's kind of cool is when the war leaders come out and say Finja would have died. If he still has enough health, he will live and continue to live for the next turn. And with the blue gills pulled out, it provides an extreme burst turn on turn 6 once Finja pulls them out. Like I said, I don't know if this trend will keep going, but even the data collection meta report site Vicious Syndicate has noticed a doubling of Finja in every deck. Now, will this trend continue? I don't know. But with the nerf to Small Time Buccaneer and to Spirit Claws coming up in the next day or so, I think we are looking for something to fight the Jades and the Jade Shaman on the meta, the Jade Druid and the Jade Shaman on the meta. That probably will take over once the Pirate package gets slowed down a little bit. We'll talk about that next week. But for this week, experiment, have fun. He's worth the 1600 dust. And in Wild, an old Merc guy, the old man of the Finja Force 6, it's a ton of fun and something to really play. So that's it for this week. Until next week, good RNG.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. That's actually some pretty good insight there into the use of the card Finja. And I have yet to get that card in Hearthstone, and I think I might try to see what I can get rid of to craft that card. Because it's a Murloc #1, and I love Murloc decks. And it's just a really fun card. So, definitely, yeah. So, we look forward to hearing what Matt's got to say next week. Hopefully about the Pirate Warrior or Dragon Priest and things like that kind of slowing down, maybe. Especially, I want to see what's going on meta-wise with all these new card releases and maybe what ideas people have got in the community about the new combinations and things like that. Could be very interesting. All right, well, let's go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about Heroes of the Storm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Blondes have more fun.
See? So fun.
Frostmourne yearns.
I hear the wilds call.
To ask why we fight is to ask why you are playing Heroes of the Storm. It is for the experience.
Let's see. Crush enemies? Done. Drive them before me? Of course. Hear the lamentations of their women? Let's skip that one.
All right, well, Dash from HeroesNexus.com reported on the 24th that, as some of you may have heard, another major security breach has come to the light that affects all of us. This one is named Cloudbleed. I wanted to provide a little information for you and also address what this means for our own sites. And this is coming from HeroesFire.com as they use Cloudflare.
So he continues. First off, what is Cloudflare? They're a service that sits down between a website and its users. If a site's running through Cloudflare, any requests that you make to the site passes through Cloudflare's servers first before it being sent to the actual site's own servers. There are a whole lot of benefits from doing this, but the biggest two are distributed caching, which means faster loading times and lower bandwidth costs, and DDoS protection. A number of services exist to do this, but Cloudflare is probably the biggest. Huge slice of the internet uses Cloudflare.
So he continues on to say, what is Cloudbleed? Cloudbleed is a bug that Cloudflare had in their code, which in short caused random bits of data, potentially any data that passed through their servers, to be leaked to the public for a period of time. So right now it seems like that was about 6 months period of time. This data could have originated from any site that uses Cloudflare, and it could have been any unimportant data like HTML fragments, or it could have been sensitive data like passwords and private messages.
So how bad is it? Well, Dash explains, luckily, it was only a tiny portion of requests that leaked data in this way, and Cloudflare had time to fix the bug before it became too widely known. However, some of this leaked data was cached by search engines and crawlers. Cloudflare has been working with Google, Bing, etc. to find, track, and purge any such cached data. So, really, it's hard to say just how bad it is, but certainly it won't hurt to change some of your most important passwords.
So how does this affect Heroes Fire and community? Well, Dash says, well, like every Cloudflare site, there was a potential for Heroes Fire data to be leaked by other Cloudflare sites. However, Cloudflare has been contacting all of their customers to inform them of whether or not any of their data was leaked. They reached out to us and told us that no information from any of our sites has been discovered in the wild, and they will inform us if they find any in the future.
So there's a lot of information about this, and if you're checking us out, if you go to our website, victorsanctum.com, we're going to provide a lot of different links for more information about this issue.
Absolutely. So check that out in case you are concerned that maybe a site that you use may have been compromised, or if you definitely are on Heroes Nexus, possibly that might be an issue as well for you too. So I do want to thank Dash for posting this. I was a little late to cover this. I didn't see it until when I was looking at it this weekend. But I thought this was kind of pertinent information to pass out to everybody, just in case you do use the site, or to look in to see maybe if other sites that you frequent normally uses Cloudflare, because this could be a big issue if you have a password floating around and things like that. No one likes to have bank accounts compromised or email addresses and things like that. It's just a pain in the neck, and it's happening more and more frequently. So, all right, well, let's get into some Overwatch for us then. All right, so we have a new hero that's been sort of announced, pseudo-announced. As we reported this last week on our news show, a wonderful post by Crow on BlizzPro.com. It was about Blizzard dropping an unexpected bomb on everyone on February 21st, with a tease of a new character coming to the game. And the way that they're framing it, it's an 11-year-old African inventor, Effie Oladell. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about this. So let's go over some wild guesses and speculations as to what this hero might be. We know now it's not Doomfist, so we can be sure for that. There's been rumors that Doomfist will probably happen at BlizzCon like they did with Sombra. So, Jane, being you follow Overwatch a ton and you have been up on this, there was some new information released today as well. They offered another tease. Do you want to tell the people a little bit about what they've posted so far for Effie?
Aaron keeps making me laugh. I keep calling him an idiot in private messages.
I'm trying to figure out how you say the name, the last name.
Yeah, no, it's tricky because I have yet to hear someone actually say, like a Blizzard person actually speak her name. So
it's probably Oladell, maybe Odele. I don't know, or Oladele.
Yeah, I'm thinking
it's right? It's probably like Oladele or something. I have no clue.
Having known my wife, she went to Africa, and she says a lot of the countries in Africa actually, for a first language, use French. So I guess you should probably think.
Oladell then.
Yeah. So
we're gonna find out when Jeff Kaplan talks about her in an official video, I guess.
Yes.
Sorry, to get back on track. Sorry, Aaron is just super distracting. So I actually sent Ryan, and he had seen it already too, but they released an image that's supposed to be Effie's, things to get sort of to-do list for this thing she's creating. And it's sort of a list of things to get, and she lists a whole lot of really technical things like an OR-15 chassis, Branford arm, a fusion driver, a miniature Tobelstein reactor, or Tobelstein, I don't know, right? Like I'm from America, I'm totally ignorant. I don't know how to pronounce these words. And then there's like paint, an Axiom vocal processor, and then she's like a little question mark. Then she crosses through it and says that she's already got that one. And my favorite item on the list is Lucio's, because it's part of your complete balanced breakfast, and everyone should be eating Lucio's. And if it was real, I'd be eating Lucio's right now.
True story.
But yeah, so it's giving us a little bit more information. I like the way that they're dispensing information to us. It's not overwhelming. It's enough to keep you interested, and I like that they're not being too overt with it. I think there's a fine line to walk between being like too mysterious and, you know, being too just upfront with what it is. And I think right now they're towing the line very well. But I think it's hinting at her being the person who creates this new hero. That's just my personal take on it. I don't think she is herself going to be a playable character in the game. I mean, she's 11. I think that would be really surprising if they go that way. But yeah, Aaron, what do you think about it? Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, it'd be interesting if there was a playable character, because I mean, we have a monkey. I mean, what is he? A gorilla?
Gorilla. He's a gorilla.
He's that gorilla. I mean, we have a gorilla, and technically, what gorillas, they don't live as long. So I mean, Winston could be like 15. You don't know that.
That's not true. Gorillas live to like age 50 or 60 sometimes.
Do they really?
Yeah, they live like equally long lifespan.
Shut you down with your anti-gorilla.
Do you know how I know that?
Alternative facts about gorillas.
Do you know how I know that? Because I watched a thing on YouTube today about Coco, the gorilla who can sign language.
So apparently they live from 35 to 40 years. Thank you, Google.
Yeah, there you go, Google.
So there you go. So Winston could still be like 15 or 16. Come on. He could be a teenage monkey.
All right, if you want him.
I mean, if there was a playable character, it'd be interesting, because looking at kind of what they say about her, I think she would actually make a really good defensive character. Just because like a tech, I'm trying to think of like games like Mass Effect where you look at the tech characters. A lot of them aren't strictly offensive; they're more defensive and supportive. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it'd be interesting to have her play on offense, but seeing as we just got an offense, we haven't actually had a defense. And I mean, she could technically be a tank, but I don't know. Seeing an 11-year-old girl going up against scary ass Reinhardt, I really wouldn't be afraid. So I think playing a defense character would actually fit a role for her. But as far as I have no idea. I haven't really followed this that well, but I just quickly read up on the thing and just trying to speculate like where she would fit in with everything.
Sure.
No, totally. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
There's a couple things that I think, and I think that both of the ideas could be really cool. I as well don't think that she is the character. I think she's creating probably an Omnic type character that we're going to see in the game. There have been screenshots that have been released that show a larger four-legged, kind of like a spider type tank version, I guess, maybe, of an Omnic. And there's also a couple Omnics that go by when Winston sends out the initial call, and it shows all the faces and all the profiles that it's contacting for Overwatch. It shows a couple of them are robots. So I'm wondering if she does not create, obviously, because that's the whole point. All the information from her is... there's a ton of it floating around out there, speculation-wise. When she went to go, and apparently she was going on a vacation because she won a grant with her parents, and while they were at the airport, they were attacked by something that destroyed some of the defense bots that were there in Numbani at the airport. And those exoskeletons, I guess you could call them, in those bots, or one of the things on her list was one of the exoskeletons of that bot. The thing that you were talking about, the power core, that you could not pronounce very well, that apparently is rumored to be the same power core that powers Zarya's gun. That apparently Zarya just ripped that off of a tank. That's a piece of a tank, and she just carries it around.
Of course it is.
Right?
Well, I mean, Effie was supposed to be going to Volskaya, I believe. So it would make sense if she was obtaining Volskaya tech somehow, or if they were sort of working together, I would think. Sort of unclear about what their ties are. Yeah,
so there's that. And I think the fact that I can't imagine Blizzard would publicly want to announce that they're putting an 11-year-old girl on a battlefield in situations where she's being shot at and there's going to be explosions. Mostly because of the the way that looks and the backlash they could get from the community. I think that they're too smart to do that. So that pretty much leaves, in my opinion, she's going to be the creator of something. There was... Crow had also posted on this some of his information that we talked about last week on the newscast. Go check it out if you want to hear more about it. But posed a very, very interesting scenario, I think, that we could maybe see when it comes to things like that. And what they said was, the gist of it was, when one brand, like IP, does one thing, it seems like a lot of the other IPs are starting to emulate. We're now seeing arcade-style battlegrounds in World of Warcraft. They're starting to do those on PTR, and they're going to be releasing them with 7.2. We've seen different things correlate from Heroes to Overwatch, or Overwatch to Heroes, and things like that. Like the after-score voting and things like that after the game is finished. He opposed the thing that he thought it would be very interesting if you could have... She would be the character per se, but she doesn't leave spawn. And she would be like an Abathur type of character in Overwatch, where behind lines where she can't get hurt, she is creating bots, kind of like with the scrap system that Torbjorn uses. And she's sending things out, and she's buffing them, and she's doing this, and, controlling multiple things at once. So it would kind of be like an Abathur, possibly, mixed with maybe like a Lost Vikings from Heroes of the Storm. And I think that is just a very interesting take on that. Like, to have that type of gameplay in a first-person shooter. It would just be very weird, but kind of cool at the same time.
I actually hope that is just wrong speculation, because I actually would really not like to see that. I don't think. I mean, I agree that it's cool because it's different, but I just don't think it fits in with this particular game. There is a lot of overlap between Blizzard, owned games and what we do in one or see in another, but I feel like something like that, kind of like for her to be the only character who sits in spawn, sort of, it sort of isn't really in the vibe of Overwatch, and I kind of don't want to see a little girl on a battlefield either. Like that, I don't feel super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and she doesn't need to be there, right? Like her strength, her superpower, the thing that makes her a hero is her brain, right? It's like she's so smart, and how she's contributing to the fight is building whatever this playable character could be. And we don't even know if it's just 100% robot. Maybe it's going to be piloted by a person. Maybe it's going to be something like Genji, where it's like part person, part Omnic robot thing. Like, we have no idea what it will be, but I just don't think it's going to be like Effie sitting in a mech, running around, killing people.
Well, you know what? Maybe we've already seen part of it, because remember the mech that is... It's piloted by the person in the Somber video that saves the person in the elevator?
Right.
Maybe it'll be similar to that, because, it's a defensive type mech, and it's already been in a video, so maybe we've seen something similar to what's going to be put into the game. Well, we have no clue, though, so...
Well, I'm going to come in hot here. Actually, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I'm going to come in hot here. I've started been listening to you guys. What if she made sort of like a drone character? Like she controls it as, for example, in League of Legends, you have a summoner and you control the heroes or the champions. What if she controlled whatever she made? So you're technically playing her, but she's not in a combat role. She's just, off in the sidelines. You'll hear her voiceovers through whatever drone she's controlling. And then they could explain it where, if it dies, she has to, repair it, and that's how it comes back.
Correct. That would be similar to the Abathur thing, yeah. Because Abathur is that way as well.
That's a possibility, for sure. I think part of, at least for me, right, like I'm the Overwatch poster girl of our show. I just feel like what I love a lot about Overwatch is that I'm really interested and invested in, like, each character's story, right? Like, I really want to know more about them. I'm waiting for the next animatic any day now. Jeff Kaplan, like, hit me up. Like, I'd love to know what the next story is going to be. But if I'm playing someone who's not physically present or doesn't really have, like, skin in the game, so to speak, like, I know that, like, a lot of these things are really just skirmishes and like they're not really like full on wars, but the whole idea is like that the world is at war and like we need heroes and stuff. Like if I'm playing someone who's not physically like in there, or like her voice lines are from off screen or through a radio or something, like I just wonder if I'll be as invested in her as a character if it does end up being Evie. Like I just wonder about that. I feel like we get attached to the characters and the heroes that we stare at the whole time, and like that we hear their interactions with each other. And I'm trying to think too, like how would Effie's interactions even be with the other cast? Like it doesn't seem like she directly knows a bunch of them besides maybe the Volskaya folk, but like I don't know, like with Soldier 76, like what would he even say if there's an 11-year-old little girl in spawn room with him? I'd be curious to know.
Yeah. This is all a good topic, good debate, because we don't really know what's coming. But, this is speculation. We're allowed to speculate and make guesses and things like that.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, I want a new hero, like, right now. And if it's a new tank, I'd be super excited.
I think we're going to get a tank regardless. I think whatever this is... And there's been rumors that we're going to get 2 heroes at once, and they're both going to be Omnic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like one tank and then I guess maybe some kind of a weird support that would be in the back like we talked about. Kind of running the thing, being able to support things. So yeah, there's that.
I personally love to see another defense champion because I'm pretty sure people are tired of me playing Bastion on offense, so it'd be nice to play another defense character on offense a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have Zenyatta for supporting in terms of like having an Omnic character in that role, right? And if we had an Omnic tank, that would be great. And then the only other place it could be, like, if you consider Genji a robot, then he's DPS, so it would make sense for it to be a defensive hero.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I'm excited to see. I would just want it already. Like, give it to me.
Just give it. Okay, well, we are going to, at this point in time, move into a subject matter that is on the hard swap for our discussion topics for this week. Now, this was linked to me before we did the news last week by Jane, and she wanted to talk about this, and after having read the article and things that are going on, I agreed that this is probably something that is a more serious topic that we need to discuss, and we just need to talk about, because this needs to be more public than I think what it may have been on Reddit, and that's saying things, because Reddit is pretty public, so I just wanted to bring light to this. So the whole conversation on this is basically sexual harassment in video games. And back on February 21st, 2017, Tech.Mike's Tim Mokarin published a much-needed article on the World's Eye, or for the World's Eyes to read, and this sort of touches base on recent political events that happened as well, in my opinion, before the recent U.S. election was resolved, with a decision that shocked most of the world and about half the Americans, necessarily, about who was elected. Not to get uber political, but I think that this kind of ties into it with the sexual harassment and things like that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll just also preface this by saying that I know this is sort of like a bummer, heavy topic to kind of talk about, but I think it's really prevalent across all the games that we love to play. Some more than others, to be fair, but I've seen this, everywhere, and it's just really just to get it out there, and I don't want anyone to feel like we're generalizing groups of people, because I'm not. It's just, for your information and maybe something to think about the next time you play with a female player. It could maybe help. So the article kind of starts off with saying, in the infamously toxic worlds of online gaming, the simple revelation that an actual real-life woman is playing can inspire others to berate her with horrifying sexist comments. Unfortunately, these situations have almost become the norm in online spaces. In fact, in 2014, a study was published by the Pew Research Center, found that 25% of women between the ages of 18 and 24 had experienced sexual harassment online. And I would consider myself one of those people, by the way.
Yeah. Now, most of us at some point in time have bore witness to this happening in game firsthand. Now, most of us write this off to people being, pardon my French, douchebags and assholes who bring out dated thoughts and behaviors into a more modern time, most of the times to get a rise out of people for their general entertainment.
So Tim goes on to write, that number won't come as a surprise to anyone who's played an online game, like, ever. but a new thread on the Overwatch Reddit lists an unsettling detail of the types of abuse female players endure on a daily basis. As of this writing, the thread's nearly 2,700 comments are filled with players sharing stories of sexual harassment in competitive Overwatch, and it's absolutely gut-wrenching.
And I cannot honestly say that enough. It is gut-wrenching. Some of the things that are being said, we had discussed this before the show, because I put them all in here for us to all read, because I wanted to, obviously, to impact us to make a decision. We feel like some of these things do not need to be repeated at all. So we will kind of give a gist of what it is. Most of it should never even be uttered to another human being, half the time. Now, when you're thinking of gut-wrenching, I'm sure that you think, how bad can this be? We've all heard males mocking females' choices for decisions and characters and criticizing their gameplay openly on voice and voice chat. But this is a quote-unquote new level for behavior, in my opinion. I myself have never heard anything like this in-game, nor would I sit by if I heard another human being talk to someone in such a derogative manner. I apologize in advance for anything that you're about to hear that offends you. We're just reporting the story as it was told. We're not looking to offend anybody at all. Now, Tim does offer examples from the original post on Reddit from Neutron Damage. Now, there's 5 of these. One of them doesn't come to any surprise at all. Can I get some nudes? People think that might be funny to say to females, but it's not. It's not necessarily very funny at all. You're just being crude and you're being a teenage kid. Just, act like an adult. Here's another one, and I say this sometimes jokingly to my wife, but I say it with love. Hey, why aren't you in the kitchen making me a sandwich? And it's not to, insult her or anything like that.
That one I hear all the time, by the way. That is probably, like, the number one thing I hear.
I say that to myself.
I say it to Aaron. I'm like, get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. No, but in all seriousness, it's just tied to, like, this sort of idea that a woman is beneath you, right? And she should be doing something that you deem is more constructive, like cooking you food. And it's super archaic, and we're in 2017, so we should probably act like it.
Yeah, there's no reason to make somebody else subservient to you just because
if you're friends
anonymous.
And you make jokes like this, then it's obviously
one thing.
Fine if everyone is laughing about it and they're all comfortable with it. To say it to a stranger is something completely different.
I agree, 100%. Should I say this next one?
Are you gonna read the other ones? I don't know. If you want to, you can. I wouldn't read the last 2. They're
the last
bad.
2 I don't think so. This one, let me lick your gaping donut hole. Just gives you
donut holes are delicious.
True.
If you go to like Tim Hortons,
Canadian,
like,
anybody?
If it's from Dunkin' Donuts or something.
But I mean, it's comments like this, and the only reason why I wanted to mention this one is how shocking this comment is. And the next 2 are worse.
Right.
They're worse than this. And
right, they're explicit. They're talking about appearances and body parts and private areas, and it's just very extra on every level, and not in the good way, in the way that makes me kind of depressed about the state of humanity.
Yeah.
It's just super bad. So Mulkerin states in the article, and I quote, "If you think playing with a male friend might fend off the worst of it, that doesn't seem to work either." Neutron Damage said that she often group swap with one of her guy friends, and she included some of the arguably worst things other players say in that situation. For example, things like, "Oh, little girl has to queue with her boyfriend," and this one is kind of gross. I kind of don't want to say it, but basically implying that, like, can I have a turn with your girlfriend, kind of, but in more explicit language.
Definitely bro language right there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I can attest that this is true too. Like, I queue with friends, and most of them are guys, and it doesn't matter if I'm queued up with a guy friend or not. People are still discussing.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead, Aaron.
All right. So basically, he goes on to say, Neutron Damage posted these comments not only as a way to open the eyes of those in the Overwatch community who don't deal with this kind of harassment on a regular basis, but also to field suggestions and stories from other women in the community. So he's quoted to say, "I try so very, very hard not to respond to people that say this kind of bananas, so much that I'll leave voice channel if it gets really bad." She wrote, "I always block and report them after the match, but sometimes I just stop queuing completely because I'm scared that I'll get matched up against them again and again, and I'll have to endure more."
Now, this brings me more to shed some light on the connection between President Trump's scandal that happened before the election when he and Billy Bush had been recorded stating, that when you're a star, they let you do it. And he didn't stop there. If anyone, if you're from the U.S., you've heard about this. If you're not from the U.S., you've probably heard about this. This is when his infamous lines, grab them by the blank. And you can do anything. Now, this brought the spotlight on what's considered as locker room talk. And that's why I wanted to mention this, is because I feel like a lot of this is going on. Guys sometimes say to each other, I don't, but I know some guys, I don't know if it's to feel macho or to feel, like you're empowered or whatever. But there are conversations that do happen similar to this. Now, how guys talk to each other, basically locker room wise, is very braggish and gloating way to talk to their friends behind closed doors, and they probably never would say that to a female's face. And if they were ever brought out to say that you said this or mentioned this, I'm sure that they would be embarrassed and deny it. Most people, that is. Now, this is the thing with a lot of men. This happens. But it's not something, as I mentioned, in public that had been openly privy to, unless the person has been since labeled a pervert, in my opinion. Now, this doesn't mean that this type of talk in public or behind closed doors is acceptable, much less right to do. This may come to a surprise to some of you, and I know the severity of the remarks caught me personally off guard and disgusted me personally of what this person had said or what, female gamers go through just trying to play a game on voice chat. Now, I am older, and I've been raised to respect women and other human beings in general, so that's how I behave. But I know not everybody has been raised that way, or some people feel that they don't have to, conform to society, because that's a societal conformity.
Yeah, peer pressure thing.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Confiscate and Jane, both, what are your thoughts on this on this article that we've talked about?
So, I mean, I've been playing online games since I was 11 or 12. So you mean you've come across
4 years.
This? Hey, hey. So you come across this behavior, basically at 11, I've heard people saying all of this stuff. So I mean that was 12 years ago. I'm so old, but I mean it's no shock to anyone who plays video games that this happens. But I feel like what needs to be said is how damaging it can be for people. And I feel like it doesn't matter if you are male or female, hearing this kind of stuff isn't fun. You don't want to log in every day and hear this. As a guy, you don't get it as much. You get it maybe 10% at max, as much as a girl would get it. I know guys log on and you get the F-bombs and you're not straight. I don't want to say any of these things, but you get you're not straight and right. You're gonna do things in the behind, but it's not. You hear it as a guy, but you don't hear it every day. So what they need to understand is that women do log on and they hear this constantly every single day, and this is why you don't see as many girls in gaming, because it's just not a welcoming environment. And the second you have a welcoming environment, then they'll come play games and they'll want to learn how to play. But I mean, if you're, for example, you're a girl and society raised you not to play video games, however it may be. I don't know how they raise people these days. They're generally a little more open to it. But if you're talking 10 years ago, it wasn't really the environment for it. But for example, you're a girl and you play for the first time with your boyfriend. You log on and these people are just calling you these nasty things. You're not going to want to play again. Why would you want to log on and hear that every day? You'd rather just go outside with your friends and do whatever. So I think what needs to be understood is not the severity of what they're said, because I mean, I've heard way worse than what was even in there. I have heard absolutely disgusting things said to people I've played with. But what they need to understand is the quantity of what they are dealing with. It's just unreal as a girl gamer, how much they have to endure and how awful an experience it can be sometimes when it's every single match you get into, they find out, like, you open up your comms channel and they find out you're a girl, and then all of a sudden the sexual comments start. It's like instant. It's literally instant. And you have a lot of girls who just refuse to go into voice chat. I mean, I don't know, that's just something I want to bring up. I have another question, but I'm going to let Jane respond, and then I'll bring up the final one.
Okay, I mean, do you want to bring it up now, or do you think you'll remember? I don't want you to forget.
Oh, no, I'll remember. It's from before the show. So.
Okay, I mean, just to give some context, I've been gaming since forever. I'm still a casual gamer, but I've always liked to play. And I will say that this is not something exclusive to Overwatch. I think Overwatch it kind of breeds this sort of toxicity and aggressive behavior, because it's not just like, oh, you're a stupid girl. A lot of it is like very vindictive, and like it's meant to intimidate and meant to harass and meant to be hurtful. It's beyond like smack talking, right? Like it takes it to a whole other place that it doesn't need to be. It's so I had originally watched this video on YouTube that made me sort of think about this. And it was posted by a YouTuber named Crystal Rain with an E. And it was her and her friend playing Overwatch competitively, and they're both females. And it's a 15, almost 16-minute video where for the entire 16 minutes, they're being berated constantly by like this one guy who's just mad that there are girls in his team. Like they haven't even started to play yet. It's not like he's mad that they're bad. And even if they were bad, they wouldn't warrant this type of behavior. But just to give you context, it was completely irrational behavior. He's just upset that two ladies are on his team, right? And he just talks about it for 16 minutes straight. So this is the kind of thing where I experienced sexual harassment even in WoW. And WoW is like you're not even on voice chat all the time. Like I couldn't even raid without people talking about like, oh, Jane, like you sound hot, Jane. And like, it's so uncomfortable and weird. Right. And I was a younger Jane back then, so it made me extra uncomfortable. And I wasn't in a position to really feel like I could tell the guild master to, back off, because that was the guy who was being really weird and just creepy to me. And it got to the point where like I logged on less and less, and I stopped wanting to raid, and it affects your enjoyment of the game. And I just feel like this sort of thing, it doesn't really happen to a guy. Like if you go into a raid, who cares if you're a guy? They're like, okay, yeah, do your damn job, and we'll all get out this fine. But it's like everything becomes sexualized because you're a woman, and everything becomes about how big your boobs are or what's between your legs and some guy who wants to sleep with you. And it's like, I'm just here to play Overwatch. Like I'm not really here for anything else. And when I see any level of harassment, I 1000% report it. But that begs the question of what is actually done with those type of reports, right? Like, does anyone even get banned or in trouble for these kind of things? And how many times do you have to report somebody who's harassing other players before something gets done about it? Like, there should be some sort of system in place where you get repercussions for actions that you take. And it's, if you make these decisions to be a crappy person to other players, and you're being a detriment to our community, and you're driving people away from a game that we all say that we love, then you should be punished for it. I don't care if you're banned for a day, a week, a month. This is not a pay to play. Like, you pay to play the game once, but you're not paying a monthly sub. So if you don't know how to behave, then you should be put in timeout. That's how I feel. But I don't know. I mean, to answer the question about just like what my thoughts on this article are just that, like, yes, this is 100% a true, real, valid thing. I can't even go on Overwatch voice chat without turning into like weird shenanigans. I usually stick to Discord, and I play with the same, either a 6-stack or like a big enough group of people that it kind of doesn't matter if we're not in voice chat. And I only voice chat for comp, basically. And generally, my experiences in comp have been fine. You know, like no one's been too extra or weird. But quick play is really where things are like the worst, and take that for, you know, whatever face value you want.
It's a cesspool.
But yeah, right. It's accessible. You know, anyone can queue to like quick play, and it's just, even you can be borrowing someone's account, right, and just like playing on their account and just being a jerk off. So it's kind of just whatever. I wish that beyond it being a gender thing, that we just as players would all treat each other a little bit better, you know, just guy to guy and like girl to guy, like everyone. Like, it's not, doesn't have to be about women and men. This specific topic is, but I just wish in general we were fostering our community better and trying to stay away from that toxic behavior, because it really only hurts us as a group and it doesn't hurt anybody else. But Aaron, you should ask that question that you were going to ask before. I keep going on forever.
But I forgot. I'm kidding.
You're such a liar.
I'm kidding.
I know you
All right,
are.
so basically, like, before the show started, we sort of just got our heads wrapped around the question here and the article. So I brought up the fact that there's no excuse to do it to your own teammate. Like, even if you want to do it to the other team, I mean, you are a terrible person, and that's just awful. But you can't really voice chat with the other team, so you won't even know if it's a real girl or not.
If you're talking smack in group chat, that happens, and not that it's okay, but that's like life, right? Like, I think I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but like, I feel like we're also, a lot of us are desensitized to the kind of things that we do say in game, because it's just become part of the culture, right? Like, you know, if someone's like GG easy and get good, like, you dumbass or whatever, no one's like necessarily gonna cry about it, because it's sort of like, okay, idiot, like, I hear that 20 times a day. But
I report them every time. I want to know that.
I mean, I report anything that's racist, sexist.
If somebody's
hateful,
just being arrogant and being an ass, I will report them, because it's like, I don't need that toxicity in the game. It's like, if I tell people GG, I don't do it to make you angry. I'm just like, you know, thanks for playing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think like GG is fine. Like GG easy, I just pass it off as you're a wiener hole, and I probably just wouldn't want to play with you again. Like, I just wouldn't add you to friends. But I mean, I play hockey, and some of the stuff, like I said, when you play on the ice is pretty bad. And I mean, I'm half black. I've been called the N-word like a countless amount of times. And you just kind of you understand that that's what they're doing to get you tilted. They just want to take you out of your game.
They want a reaction from you.
Yeah, off of the ice, they don't care. They don't even remember what they said. It's like during the game, like after a game, do you think about like what you said to the other team? Probably not. Like, it's not something you think about. But the stuff that you say to your own team, though, is where people start thinking like, you know, am I that bad at this game? Because I don't know, if someone's bad at the game, they get yelled at a lot, and they'll start to think, I'm bad, I don't want to play this game anymore. And it's not a fun experience. So I mean, if you can imagine being a girl and you're constantly told all this stuff, it's not something that makes you want to play, like log in. You're just not going to log in. You're going to go outside and, you know, play outside and do things, whatever people want to do, what's exciting for them. But it's definitely not going to be logging on to the internet. And it's a shame, because there's even like, I mean, it even happens with, I'd say, like trans and like the LGBT community as well. Like, as soon as people find out that you are not what I don't even want to say society considers a norm, because we're so far ahead of that nowadays that it's not really, there's no real norm anymore.
No, but like, if you're different,
you know what I'm saying.
People want to pick on you, right?
Yeah, so as soon as they find out that you're not what they are, basically, is where they really hound you. And I mean, if you're getting that every day, you're just not going to want to play. And then you lose that person. And I mean, that person might have been absolutely amazing. They may have been such a fun person to play with. But just because you were so short-sighted, you've, you know, ruined that for not only yourself, because you won't get to meet that person and experience, you know, the loveliness that they can be, but you've ruined it for everyone else, because they're just not going to play.
Yeah, I have a LGBT friend who streams on Twitch, and every time he streams, and even if he's on a stream with me, like, people will comment about him, say really nasty, hurtful things about him, what he looks like, call him names, and it's kind of like, especially on Twitch, like, no one is forcing you to watch his channel, so why are you here? Like, what is the enjoyment that you get out of it, except trying to dump all over another person and get a reaction out of them? And it hurts me to see him go through it, and I get really angry for him. But it's just, you know, it's like you said, this discourages people from wanting to engage in the community, from wanting to be part of the team that they're queued with, from even being on voice chat. And it's just so unnecessary, and I'll never understand it. I try, but I can't get it. But I just would hope that whoever's out there who can relate to these sort of things and has had this happen to them, I guess my takeaway would just be, not to let this behavior be what dictates how you have fun and whether or not you play, because there are going to be a lot of ignorant, stupid people, and just out in the world in general, but most certainly on the internet, because that is just where they congregate. And, if you encounter someone that's toxic like this, block them. If it's just in text, if it's in voice chat, leave the channel. If they're still harassing you, then just drop group and report them. Just report them. And don't let this be the thing that makes a game that you find enjoyment in stop being fun for you. Because to me, that's the true tragedy. That if you really like to do something and someone else is ruining your fun, it's awful. Don't give them that power over you.
Yeah, we have actually somebody who's in Discord listening right now who's posting, and they go on to say that this current topic is a pretty big problem, and the audio from Blizz should be able to be listened to from staff, regardless if the game was reported for harassment. They should be able to pull the audio from the game to listen to it, not just hearsay of this is what the person said.
Of course, they should. And this was my question too, is just that, and I'm sorry, I keep interrupting people, but just how, there should be something in place, and there needs to be accountability, and it's not just so everyone can report each other and get each other banned, but we have GMs on WoW, maybe we need GMs on Overwatch and people to review those sorts of audio clips and verify whatever the report is, and then just take the action that we need to take,
Sure.
Whatever it is, whatever they decide is, fair.
Well, I mean, here's another good point that the person posted. If they want Overwatch to be a big esport thing, they need to take this seriously. Because,
absolutely.
This is a serious problem. This is a problem that doesn't just affect people, and like both of you have been talking, this is going to refuse people from, they purchased a game, and then they're not going to want to solo queue. Because when they solo queue, they get, douchebags that are like this, that are treating people this way, and that are getting away with it, and that aren't getting punished. If they are, good, Blizzard, thank you very much, but we have no idea if the people are or are not getting punished. And I don't think we'll ever find that out unless Blizzard actually comes out and makes a statement about it saying that they're cracking down on specifically what this is. But I was going to ask Aaron, because the mention of locker room talk, when you're on the ice, so I'm guessing there's some interesting things, because I've always wondered, when you go to professional or semi-pro games, what is being said, between players, because I know they talk.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's a famous case in the NHL where one player was alcoholic and the other team kept making drinking jokes at him, even though he's trying to recover. So I mean,
wow.
It's really bad. The stuff that you hear on the ice, specifically, I don't know, other sports. I know hockey's pretty bad. I'm pretty sure most sports will be like that.
Football, I think, is bad too.
Ice, yeah, any sport. It's just they're just doing it to, tilt you and get you off of your game. And you just have to ignore it, like I do on the ice. I just ignore it, and I go about my way, and I do my thing. As soon as you let them get under your skin is when you're not focusing on the game 100%, and that's when you start losing.
Yep.
So let them talk, let them waste their energy, let them, lose sight of what they're supposed to be doing, and just play your own game. I personally, if I don't know people that I'm playing with, I don't like hearing people yell at me unless it's a competitive game, so I usually just mute them if their mic's on.
Yeah, I will too.
For the most part, I just mute everyone that I'm playing with, just because I like my own music too. So I don't know. I can. I'm
not always in voice chat either.
Yeah,
I don't normally join.
Well, you're usually on private servers, voice chat with your friends.
Yeah.
And you queue anywhere between 3 to 6 people, so I mean that's not a problem. But people who queue 1 or 2, or solo queue, the only way that they can voice chat, with people and try to. And the thing is they included voice chat in Overwatch to try to help people come together and play as a team, to try to win objectives and try to, figure out if somebody needs to switch from a Winston to something else because something needs countered. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it is by voice instead of stopping, typing, sending, and then whatever.
Yeah, I didn't always have a private server. I didn't even know what Discord was when I started Overwatch, and someone was like, "Oh, join our Discord," and I was like, "Oh, this is a wonderful thing because I can control who I'm talking to."
Yeah, Absolutely. So, I mean, this has been a pretty heavy topic, and we didn't want to really weigh the show down with this. But we thought this was very, very important to talk about. And, I mean, I think that we've had a very good discussion, very healthy discussion about this. And if you have any more questions or you have any more concerns, you have stories, anything like that, send them to us at the end of the podcast.
Please.
Yeah, at the end of the podcast, we've got ways in which you can get in touch with us. And if you are looking for, people to talk to vent about, you can put us on your battle tag list or, send us emails, things like that, send us tweets. And
yes, please.
We'd be more than happy to try to help, deal and just be kind of your, your target dummy, in essence, of just trying to get all this off your chest.
Board?
Yeah, and then, because sometimes just talking about things helps, necessarily. And when you're able to open up and you're able to talk about things, you then can also bounce ideas. Maybe somebody else who, has been through it has got an idea that you haven't thought of yet, and this has worked for them. So, I mean, I urge anyone, if we have any female listeners, or we even have any, LGBT listeners, we have male listeners, and you've dealt with this, this is a problem, too, between guys and guys sometimes as well, where people just want to be the alpha in a game, and they'll just talk complete shit to the person the entire game, and talk down to them.
Ooh, you said a bad word.
Shit's okay.
Is shit okay?
Shit's okay.
Oh my god. All right, well then I need to say shit a lot more on here.
Yeah, so...
Shit. No, but I was going to say that I've seen guys get picked on for having voices that are not
too
necessarily
feminine.
Like very deep.
I have a very good friend
sounding.
who actually I've known for quite a while in WoW, and I know him. We've talked on Skype, and then we talk on Discord as well, and he does not like to be in voice chat because he doesn't have necessarily a very masculine voice. He doesn't sound like he's a female, but he just doesn't want to deal with the people. And I completely understand that. But it's terrible.
Right, he can't help what his voice sounds like. It's such a stupid thing to make fun of him for.
It's just absolutely terrible that our society, in the anonymity of the internet, can cause people to be the complete opposite of what at least I was raised to be respectful, to be, loving and caring for other people, regardless of what they look like, regardless of, the color of their skin, their attitude, their sexual preference, regardless of any of that. There's no reason to openly just go and attack people like this and make comments like this to put them down, because the only thing that it's doing, it may be entertaining you and a couple of your friends who think it's funny, but it's just making you look like a complete asshole. That's it. And that was one of the biggest problems, I will publicly say this, that I had about and why I did not vote for Trump. And I knew he was similar to that, but when that information came out, I was 100% behind it. I'm like, people need to see this. Like, this could influence votes. I mean, this is who's leading our country for the next 4 years. Granted, I'm not one of those people who says he's not my president. I support the fact that he won the presidency. It's fine.
He's not my president.
Well, he's not your president because you're in Canada.
You're Canadian.
You're lucky.
I like your president. Your guy is pretty boss.
He's good looking, but...
You don't like him?
Good looking like an orange? He tans a bit too much.
You want to switch?
Yeah, I'll totally switch.
No, I wouldn't want to switch.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that sucks. But, yeah, so I guess we'll just kind of leave it there. And I just wanted to let everybody know, as I said before, if you'd like to talk to us, share stories, anything like that, we'd be more than happy to talk to you. And just, try to get things going out there. If you want to come on and you're very go get 'em, I'm trying to think of the word, got a lot of gumption, and you want to start, if you're interested in writing blogs about things like this or about supporting people in the community for things like this, contact us. Maybe we'll see what we can do to have you, post blogs every so often or anything like that.
Yeah, we're a pretty positive community, and we have a Discord and everything. And if you're feeling an abundance of negativity in your gaming life, please join us, reach out to us, interact with us. We're nice. We don't bite, except Aaron. Sometimes if you don't feed him, he gets cranky.
He does.
I just get really hungry. Not me when I'm hangry, okay?
Hangry.
I'm mean when I'm hangry.
I'm cranky when I'm hangry. Okay, so... This episode ran a little bit long, but there was a pretty heated discussion there at the end, just a topic. So this is going to wrap up this episode of the Victor Sanctum podcast. I would like to thank Confiscate and Jane for both co-hosting with me, Matthew Myers for his On Target segment this week, and Brian Griffith for his music heard in our bumpers. I've been your host, RiceyP. You can find me on Twitter at RiceyP1209. You can find me on Facebook at Facebook.com/RiceyP.gaming. And you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RiceyP1209.
And I'm Confiscate. You can find me on Twitter at ConfiscateVG. I should be streaming Twitch soon, so it's twitch.tv/Confiscate. And also you can find me on Battle.net, Confiscate number 1256.
I'm Jane, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at a Pinky Bunny. It's Pinky with a Y, Bunny with an IE. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/PinkyBunny, spelled the exact same way. On YouTube, you can search Jane Plays. And on Battle.net, I am Jane with a capital J, #1699. And definitely hit me up if you'd like to play.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to our live viewers. We have some live viewers on Twitch, and we have some live listeners that is in our Discord channel. So if you'd ever like to join us, follow our Twitter account. You can find it at Victor Sanctum on Twitter, and we post a link to Discord every week, and we also post a link to Twitch if you want to catch the live recording of this. Then we also, try to keep it on YouTube as well. I try to edit what I can and whatnot. So we'll see you guys later this week. We'll be recording the news this Friday, and we'll catch you next Monday for our episodes. So until then, have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time.
I bring life.
Job done.
Thanks for joining us for the Victor Sanctum Podcast. Being a community-focused podcast, Victor Sanctum needs your help. Whether it be your questions, ideas, or topics, your thoughts, or fun ads and skits, send your content to victorsanctum@gmail.com. If you would like to be a part of our live stream, you can join us on twitch.tv/Victor Sanctum. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also find Victor Sanctum Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as our website. If you stop by to subscribe, please give us a 5-star rating. Your ratings help others find us on iTunes. We would like to thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Without you, this podcast would not be possible. And thanks to the generous help of our patrons. If you would like to become our patron, visit patreon.com/Victor Sanctum and start supporting today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
For Small Tauren Clan, it's a case of different doom, same gloom. It's the Overly Dramatic News. I'm Hunts the Wind. Visitors to High Mountain may have run into the Prepfoot clan, a small group of Tauren convinced that Deathwing still lives. But after 6 months of adventurers visiting their compound possessing loot that could only have come from the Great Dragon's Horde, many members of the clan have begun to realize that Deathwing is no more. As a result, their suspicions have risen that the group's leader, Trand Prepfoot, has been conning them to stay in power. But yesterday, Trand made a stunning announcement of a new threat, the coming eye-level 1K apocalypse. In a rambling, at times barely coherent press conference, the Tauren claimed that magic in Azeroth was limited to 3 digits, and when items surpassed eye-level 999, they would somehow roll over to negative eye levels and instantly disintegrate. He claimed that only he could determine which weapons, armor, etc. would survive, and the Prepfoot needed to keep him in charge to help them stockpile for the post-apocalyptic world. Although ODN and other attendees from the outside ridiculed this obvious scam to remain in power, the other Prepfoot members immediately bought into it, swore allegiance anew to Trand, and closed their village to outsiders. Earlier today, Mela High Mountain made a personal appeal for the Prepfoot to reject the false words of Trand and aid in the fight against the Legion. Sadly, she reported her efforts were rebuffed as the Prepfooters declared all opposition to their leader as fake moves. Broadcasting across all Azeroth, I'm Hunts the Wind. Check out the archives at overlydramaticnews.com or follow me on Twitter at Hunts the Wind.
Lagging Balls is your community-focused Blizzard Games podcast. For the people, by some people.
We are the only podcast scientifically proven to have the most inappropriate jokes and the only podcast that will blatantly lie about facts in our promos.
And we would like to congratulate Activision Blizzard making number 77 in Fortune 100's best companies to work for.
Of course they did.
The number one in our hearts. But I thought it might be fun to read the perks of working for this illustrious company.
What? Yes, please tell me.
There's perks. Okay. Free snacks during the day.
Oh my god.
Free breakfast foods on a regular, daily basis.
Wow.
A convenience store.
Nice.
Free beverages.
Beverages and snacks?
Beverages!
Oh my god.
Hot chocolate. And hot cocoa, if there's a difference. I don't know. Weight Watchers meetings. Cranking out a new show every week. Lagging Balls is available on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and laggingballs.com.
Alexa, what are my plans for tonight?
Tonight you will build an RBG group from scratch, struggle with getting players into voice chat, sit in awkward silence while in the RBG queue, get matched against an experienced team that outclasses you, argue with pugs over strat, fight with the target caller over objectives, and sit in the graveyard while crying over your failing group.
Need some help? The Foxy Hippo RBG YouTube channel is your source for weekly video commentaries on WoW RPG strat, target calling, group building, leadership, networking, communications, dealing with drama, guild groups, voice chat, CC.
Foxy, shut up and go make more YouTube videos.
But I'm telling them all about my YouTube channel.
They know already. My scripted intro communicated who your target audience is very well.
Search for me on YouTube under Foxy Hippo RBGs. No space between the Foxy and the Hippo.